There are two types of people in this world: people who have an expansive mindset and think in terms of growth, and people who have a limited mindset, who think in terms of lack. People with a limited mindset tend to view the world in a very black and white, rigid, yes or no kind of way. They categorize their lives as either having what it is they want or not having what it is they want. When something happens in their lives that reminds them that they are not yet at the places that they want to be in, or not yet where they'd hope to be, maybe it's a rejection of some sort, maybe it's a setback that they go through at work, maybe it's a failed goal, they immediately reinforce the belief that they are stuck, that they are behind, or that they're simply not good enough. And over time, these moments, they accumulate this sort of mental narrative. They tell themselves, I'm not where it is I want to be, I'm stuck, I'm behind, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it is I want, and I'm not progressing. And that slowly over time, if repeated, becomes the mental narrative. And once that dominant mental narrative gets established, it's like a habit. Your brain treats these thoughts the same way it does a habit. Through consistency and repetition, it just becomes automatic. Just like developing literally any habit or developing a routine or learning a new skill, your mind is going to form these patterns based on what you consistently think, based on what you repeatedly think. This dominant mental narrative becomes your mental baseline, the place that your mind returns to. Even when things in your life are improving, because you have this established negative dominant mental narrative, your brain is going to filter those moments through the lens of your dominant narrative. It doesn't matter if you're making progress or not. Progress is going to get minimized. It's going to get ignored even or dismissed if you have a negative dominant mental narrative, because you keep on telling yourself you're not good enough or you just aren't making enough progress. For example, just to illustrate this point, let's say someone wants to start going to the gym more consistently, or they want to start getting into better shape. They tell themselves that they're going to go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. They're lifting more weights than they've ever lifted. They're doing more cardio than they've ever done before. Their form is improving. Maybe they're starting to lose a little bit of weight, or they're gaining a little bit more muscle. These are real, meaningful signs of progress that should be acknowledged. If you have a mental narrative that is negative, a dominant mental narrative that is negative, which is formed through repetition, you thinking negatively about yourself, that will be your mental baseline. So in our example, you're at the gym, you're starting to see progress, like real tangible evidence that you are making progress. If your dominant mental narrative is still, I'm not where it is I want to be, or I'm not good enough as I am, I'm not changing, I'm not progressing, then all of your efforts are going to be filtered through that belief. The actual progress is happening, but your mind just refuses to acknowledge it because of where your mental baseline is. That negative narrative has been repeated so many times that it rewrites the meaning of everything that you do. Even when you improve, you brush it off. You aren't acknowledging the steps forward that you're actually taking. Even when you're moving forward, you still try to convince yourself that you're stuck, because that's where your mental baseline is. And I want to emphasize how important this is. It may not be to the extreme, right? Like the way that I'm describing it now makes it seem like this is very extreme. And for some people, I'm sure that this is the case. For most people though, just in their day-to-day lives, they aren't on their own team. And because they aren't on their own team and they have a more negative, dominant mental narrative than a positive one, they're still going to brush off their successes. They're still not going to admit to themselves when they are taking steps forward. When someone compliments them, they aren't even able to accept it because they don't really see that in themselves. That's what happens when you have a negative mental narrative, because over time, through repetition, you aren't giving yourself that praise. You aren't giving yourself that love. Imagine wearing sunglasses with like really, really dark lenses in them. It doesn't matter how bright or sunny it is outside. If you're wearing those sunglasses, you're gonna see dark. Now, I don't want this video to get too negative. So now let's talk about people who have an expansive mindset. People who have an expansive mindset see growth everywhere. They don't see the world as black and white or yes or no. Because their minds are trained to look for growth, that's what they're going to see. They're trained to recognize it. They're trained to recognize growth and expansion and positivity because they have an uplifting, positive, or expansive dominant mental narrative. Someone who has a positive or expansive or uplifting dominant mental narrative will literally see growth and positivity everywhere they look. They will be able to step outside and see a flower that is blooming and think about how beautiful that is. The smallest, most insignificant things will have value to them because they see the world through the lens of positivity, through growth, through expansion. When they see someone achieving their own goals, it may not have anything to do with you. They don't get threatened when someone else is achieving their goals. They don't get discouraged. They celebrate it. They feel inspired by it. They see a reflection of their future self in that person who's achieving their own goals and their own dreams. Instead of thinking, why them? They think, I'm so grateful that I'm able to witness this because I know that this is a possibility for me as well. Their inner dialogue, that inner narrative, that mental dominant narrative is attuned to growth, to progress, to positivity. They naturally celebrate evidence of expansion in themselves and in others. That is the power of the story that we tell ourselves. Whatever narrative you reinforce becomes the filter through which you view the world, the way that you see the world, the way that you interact with the world. If you repeatedly tell yourself that nothing is working, that's going to be your mental baseline. You will see more of what isn't working, and whenever something is working, you're going to brush it off. If you repeatedly tell yourself that progress is always happening, that you're always in alignment with your goals and with the version of you that you want to be, that good things happen to me all the time, that I'm blessed, even in small ways, even in the smallest of ways, you will begin to notice growth everywhere because that's what you're going to see. That's the lens through which you view the world. And this is why gratitude is so important. When anything good happens, whether it's big, whether it's small, celebrate it. Show appreciation. Be thankful for it and tell yourself that this is progress. This is evidence. This is literal evidence that I am moving forward. Celebrate the small wins so your brain learns to expect big wins. Ultimately, this difference in mindset and in perspective is one of the biggest separators, in my opinion, between people who achieve the things that they want in life, people who achieve their goals, versus the people that don't, versus the people that give up on them. The people who have an expansive mindset versus the people who have a limiting mindset. It's light and dark. It's positivity and negativity. You get to choose through what you continuously tell yourself over and over again throughout the course of your day. Notice which side you're going down. Notice where your thoughts gravitate toward. If you notice that your thoughts are gravitating towards negativity, be present with it, catch it in the moment and switch it. Switch it to the light, switch it to positivity, and you will feel better. If this is done repeatedly, it will become more automatic and you will shift your mental baseline towards positivity and light and expansion and growth. And that is an incredible place to operate from. The way that you view the world will change completely. You will notice more opportunities. There will be more opportunities to notice. People who view the world through this lens of positivity, they treat every single day as an opportunity to move closer to their goals and to the person that they ultimately want to be. And when you decide, when you truly decide that you are that person now and you're going to carry yourself that way, you will start seeing progress in places you never noticed it before. The world will expand because you expanded your mind and what you believe is possible, because you are seeing the world and viewing the world through the lens of positivity.